Welcome back to Quick Take Charge. I'm Tim Stenevec in New York. Well, President Biden is planning to sign an executive order today for the government to buy more U.S. goods. This would modify the rules for the Buy American program in an effort to boost American-made business. Here to discuss is Bloomberg News' Wall Street reporter, Sonali Basak. Hey, Sonali, good morning. We always love it when you join us right here on Quick Take. And in fact, today we are excited that today will be your first of your recurring segments called Cashing In. That's in which we break down headlines that are driving market-moving decisions and the potential impact on all of our lives. So I want to start today with the executive order that we are expecting the president to sign. What is the effect that this could have on the world's largest economy, especially keeping in mind that the U.S. lost roughly 540,000 factory jobs just since last February?
Yeah, that's exactly the thing here, Tim. We're looking at potential job creation, and also the federal government is one of the biggest spenders out there, right? So once we know where they're going to be spending money, it helps Wall Street also decide where they're going to spend their money. So we know some of these campaign promises, right? We've heard them in almost 20 pages of an outline that Joe Biden had outlined before he became president. That's $400 billion in procurement plans for clean energy infrastructure, U.S. cargo. It's another $300 billion in research and development in breakthrough technologies, electric vehicles, AI, and whatnot. So we know kind of where this money is going. He is getting started on day, 4 or 5, to say that he will put somebody in the executive office to make sure that U.S. companies are also following these Made in America rules, that they're also procuring a lot of their own supplies from American companies as well.
It's not just buying American, though, Sonali. It's also buying minority and from women-owned businesses, too. What should we expect on that front from the Biden administration?
Yeah, it's a real opportunity. And right now, again, it's still just a promise. But a couple of weeks ago, when I spoke to John Rogers, who's the founder of Ariel Investments and also part of former President Obama's inaugural committee, he had said that what he would like to see is President Biden use the bully pulpit to really force or push some of these companies and the broader spectrum of what's under the federal government. Think the Department of Transportation here, for example, or the PBGC, which is the big pension fund that hires money managers to work with women-owned and minority-owned companies and employ more minorities and women. Let's see if all that happens. Right now, it is said in the plan. The question is how far they'll go.
Yeah, and that's certainly the big question. Look, Sonali, when it comes to what happens in Washington, I think with Americans, there's often this disconnect between what happens there and how it affects the average everyday person. So give us an idea of how these changes or this executive order in Washington could affect just the average American.
Well, the one number that is really supposed to resonate here is the 5 million new jobs created in manufacturing innovation. Right, we are looking at a period of time where we have more than 15 million people who are seeking unemployment aid right now. And so the idea of new jobs could be very welcome at this point in time. There's also a feeling that, we want to keep more jobs at home, more jobs in America. But what will that mean in terms of international relations? Again, that's not something you wake up and think about every day, but it is something that is on the minds and the hearts of Wall Street as they are looking for guidance from President Biden to where America stands in the rest of the world.
Okay, well, speaking of the disconnect between what happens in one place versus what happens in another place, I want to talk about the disconnect between Wall Street and Main Street and talk about the idea of a bubble actually happening on Wall Street right now. Kriti Gupta, our colleague, joined us just a few minutes ago talking about the meteoric rise of GameStop stock. Why are we hearing more and more talk of a bubble right now?
So there's a lot of worry about how expensive the stock market is, even though a lot of ordinary people are just getting into it right now at really what are historic highs, Tim. When you look at the price to earnings ratio, that's how expensive something is relative to the earnings that all the underlying companies are making. It's more expensive than it was in that dot-com bubble where everyone remembers notoriously things being through the roof and then crashing. Something important to remember here, even though we saw the stock market really rebound, right, since March, remember, when we look at past stock market crashes, think about 99 to 2002, even with a rise in the stock market, there was a subsequent fall. So will the shoe drop again here, and will we face another massive crash in the stock market? That's really what Wall Street leaders are debating right now.
All right, that is a very good question. Bloomberg News' Sonali Bostic. Sonali, thank you for your time. We'll be talking with Sonali every single Monday to get the latest on big money's market-moving decisions.